fun because we had a piano in the house and we had one note that, bling, 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 and everybody would laugh when he would hit that note. I only found out later that that note wasn't supposed to be there. That was because the piano wasn't in tune. But everybody would laugh. So when no one was around, I'd go around and I'd find that note and I'd hit it. And I swear to God, I was playing piano. I go, ding, 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 ding.
That's hilarious.
Because I realized, like, what I saw, Julian, was, although I realized later on the technical expertise of these people, Lonnie Johnson, all of these people, they were technically brilliant. But I never looked at that. I looked at the fact that they were entertainers, and people liked them for that. No one sat around saying, "Oh man, he's better than so and so. He's better," because all that would have probably been frowned upon. So that's the way I grew up. I grew up with the music. You gotta feel it, and to get people to feel where you're coming from, so that they can feel good about what's happening, that kind of thing. So
these people are the epitome of conversation. No, is that not right? What I'm hearing you say, Harrison, is that, and it's interesting because I was brought up in a similar way.
Right.
My grandparents had some of these people in their house too, but my grandfather always said that jazz and rhythm and blues was a conversation, and it was never about technicality. Although these people, like certainly Duke Ellington, was very classically trained, but a feeling. And your music has that, and always had.
It was, the lyric and the language is what you said and how you said it. Like, for instance, I started writing because of my mother. I blame her for everything. God bless her. Well, she's gone. But she used to call me downstairs and she would say, "Harry, sing me that song that I like." And I had no idea, Julian, what song she was talking about. And so I remember once that I had an uncle. He was First Nations. His name was Clifford Thompson, his Mohawk. And he was sitting there, had a cigarette in his hand. And I just looked at him and said, "Oh, there's Uncle Clifford sitting on the couch. He don't know the cigarette's gone out. His ashes are falling all over the floor." And the people went crazy. I thought they went crazy. I was like 9. And then I got a handful of quarters and Mom would send me to bed. And I said, I got to do this. So that was right. That was was my foray into writing. And I still write the very same way to this day. What I see, what I feel. Yeah.
Interesting, because you've seen a lot, and certainly as a performer, a lot of people know you because of the chairman of the board.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people know you because of the blues awards that you've gotten, and because of the Juno award that you received and stuff like that. But let's go to the chairman of the board. And I'm curious. You and I have a very similar heritage. I'm Mohawk and Black as well.
Right on.
We talked last week about the chairman and the board.
Yes.
What were the things that you guys had to face? It's 1970, right?
Well, Julian, I think I was in shock for months when I was with that band. There I was, like, I was chosen by 3 other singers, which I had no idea this was an audition. They asked me to sing, so I just started singing. And then they said, "You're in the group." And I thought, what group? And then Edward Holland, one of the most proficient songwriting teams ever, chose me to sing with this group. And then even did a tune on me, which was, "I'm the chairman of the board." And it was like, I was in shock, so I learned the tune and we went on road, and then I was on the Dick Clark show, and he asked me how I felt about it. And I honestly, I'm a Hamilton boy. I came from Hamilton. I had a band here and stuff like that, but I had no intention of ever becoming on Dick Clark's show. I watched him when I was a kid, Dick Clark. And he asked me, what do you think? And I said, well, the only place I think I can go now is down. And that's how I felt, you know. I took a lot of criticism from the record label because I said that. But I had to explain to them, like, you have to understand who you're talking to here. Like, this is, my head's still spinning, you know. I mean, it's, for me, this is amazing. I don't know what else to say, you know. So we have to maintain it and keep it and everything like that. But, you know, they asked me, that's how I felt, you know. So being with the chairman of the board, what I learned, Julian, was I was working with a bunch of brothers and sisters who took their craft seriously, from everything from their diction, how they looked on stage, how they presented themselves in public, what to say, when not to say, how long you talk, how long you don't talk, how to work the stage, all of those things. We had exercise every day. So they took that very, very, very seriously. So I learned the respect that they had for one another, for each other, and for the business itself. I learned so much, and that's why Edward came to me one day and says, "I want you to write an album," you know. And I thought, wait a minute. I don't play a guitar. I said, wait. I said, what instrument you want to do? And I said, well, I guess a guitar. So he reached in his pocket, gave me $75. He said, get a guitar. I'll see you in 3 weeks. You're going to record. So I recorded my first album, but then I had to find a band.
Okay.
So I went out to Ann Arbor and I checked all the bars out there because it was a university, and I answered this one band if they'd like to record. And we did it. We got it together. They recorded a couple. So it was back in those days, Julian. It's not like today.
What do you mean?
If a record label put faith in you, they put the money where their mouth was. You know, like my friend, for instance, Eugene Smith and Bobby Washington. They had a group called Snap, Crackle, and Pop out of Toronto. Eugene, tremendous player and singer. And they put them up in a house for 2 months before they brought them down to Detroit just to record.
Write and record and work on their craft?
Yeah.
Would they have
Work on their craft. They saw the talent, you know,
Yeah.
like saw their talent, and they said, okay, we see your talent. Take your time, do something. We'll see you in a month.
So were they doing the same sort of thing? Like, were they exercising every day? The only time I've ever heard of any band doing that was, you know, talking to Donna when she was in print, and they're like, yeah, he got up and first thing he did was work out. It was like a regime.
You know why you have to do that, Julian? Because if you reach the big time and you're on the road for 6 months, you don't want to be the guy after 2 weeks on the road that can't perform and do what they need to do, or you have a nervous breakdown, or you become a pain in the butt because you're too tired and you're not taking care of business. It's a business. So the better physical shape you're in, that works with your mind as well. You know, the physical thing and the mind, the physical thing helps your mind. It helps you from stop being negative about, oh man, I can't do this. I'm too tired. I'm going to stay in bed. Getting up at noon. There's no way you stay to bed till noon when you're in the chairman, or if you're on that level. If you've got a $1 million seller and you're playing all around the world and making big bucks, you got to be ready, man. And I was fortunate that I was an athlete anyway. You know, I had fought down in Palace Pier. I had 7 fights down there, and you know, I was in. Yeah, I had to carry this card saying that I was a boxer and all that kind of stuff. But I liked working out. I liked. You know, I was a rower, I was a boxer, and I ran distances and things like that. So it was easy for me. But all the other guys in the band, one of them was Eddie Custis, and his cousin played for Hamilton Taggart Cats. Bernie Custis is Eddie Custis' cousin, and he's from Philadelphia. Could sing, man. And he asked me to race one day, and I thought I was fast. He left me in the dust, buddy. And then John Johnson said, "Y'all play basketball up in Canada?" I said, "Man, we made that game up." He said, "Let's play some basketball."
Yeah,
He
cool.
hurt. He hurt me. I mean, these dudes, man, these brothers could play and they could sing and they could run. And Danny Woods was just strong as an ox. He used to put chairs and jump over 5 chairs and do the splits.
What do you think? I mean,
he just did that stuff, man. And we opened for Jackie Wilson. We opened up for Jackie Wilson, and for a whole week. And Danny Woods had the same range as Jackie Wilson. We were at the Apollo Theater. We worked the Apollo 3 or 4 times, I think.
Tough place to work, man. Tough place to work.
Oh man, I'm going on and on and on. I'm sorry.
No, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
There's there, there's so many stories there.
Jackie must have been in shape, huh?
Who? Jackie?
Yeah,
I can tell you some stories, but I won't.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I was at the Apollo once with my mother and sister. My great aunt grew up in she didn't grow up there. She's from the West Indies, but she moved to Harlem, and we went in there to check out the open stage, and I was really into Otis Redding and really just I was probably maybe 12 years old at the time. Yeah. And they kept on itching me to get up, and man, Harrison, I was so scared when I saw that person come out of the scene and like everybody booing and laughing. I said, no.
Yeah, they scare me too, man. They say when you go in there, if they don't like you, this cane comes out and grabs you, and I thought, oh my God, this cane don't come out and get me.
As long as my room here, and it scared the living daylights out of me.
Except the brother tried to rob me right on the corner.
Where outside?
And I was playing the Apollo, and I just went for a little walk, and I'm standing there with broad daylight. And the brother come up to me and asked me for some money, reaching us, and he had a gun. And I looked at him, I said, man, why you think I'm out here? He said, what's up? I said, man, I'm out here. I said, man, you can't walk around here looking like you poor. I said, you got to have some game going on, bro. I said, man, you look at you. He says, what you doing? I said, man, look, I'm hungry. I ate all day. You coming over here. You busting my thing, man. Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. Shit. He said, where should I go? I said, well, try a block down the street, man. All right, man. He said, look here, man. Here's $1. Get yourself something. All he had to do, Julian, was look like this. And there was my picture right on the marquee. And I was dead, bro. And when he left, I hit around the corner, and I was so scared at the end of the shovel, man, in case he found out. Oh my God! Oh, yeah, all kinds of stories like that. But you don't want to. I don't want to get into all that stuff. But the Apollo.
Wow.
Yes, Lord.
So you go out on the road with the chairman of the board, do the world tour, right? Like world tour back to the United States and UK, pretty much. No, or is it more than that?
Well, pretty well. Yeah. We never got to Canada, and it was UK and all over the States. Yes. Yeah.
Stories about being in the UK
Everybody.
that you remember that were funny?
Lord have mercy. Yeah, I remember a whole bunch of stuff that's funny. I remember when we did Soul Train. And the first time I worked with Cornelius was in Chicago, because he started off in Chicago before. And God bless him, may he rest in peace. But I always had this Canadian cheek, you know what I'm saying? It's like he came up to me when he was giving me an interview. Now, I didn't know the band that I had was the Parliament. Was the Parliament Funkadelic. That was the band, yeah. All good buddies of mine. George Clinton was the one that told me, he says, man, Harrison, he says, it's theater arts. I never forgot that. He said, that's why we dress up when we go on the stage. It's the theater arts, man.
Was he talking about them, or was he talking about everything?
He was talking about what we do on the stage, because I said to him, man, you cats really, because his wife used to do his hair and all that kind of stuff and everybody. And I said, yeah, I got to get some stuff like that. So I went and bought some high boots. And he said, yeah, man. He says, yeah, theater arts is what we do. Theater arts. I said, right on. I got that. And it's true. To this day, it's still true. But I don't dress up when I'm not on stage. When I'm on stage, that's my stage thing. But when I leave the stage, Jack, I don't do that shit, you know, because for me, I don't want to, it's a persona that's not real, you know. So I stay, yeah. But when I'm on stage, I'm very real, you know. When I'm off stage, I'm real, but I'm not running my stage gear on the street, you know. And that was the one thing I learned about that whole group. Like none of those guys and all those guys still graduates, you know, everybody in the Parliament, they were graduates from Juilliard School of Music with honors or Cass Tech. These cats knew their music, man. These are all bright young men, you know. When they went on stage, they did their thing that way. The people, they knew what the people liked, and that's why they did it. That's why we do what we do when we go on stage. We know, you know. So yeah, I learned a lot, man. I mean, there was just a lot of good times, and sometimes it weren't so good. But looking back on it, I'm grateful for the fact that I had the opportunity, you know, be with the chairman. I learned so much about the business, man.
And in between that and say you took a little bit of a break.
Yeah, what happened was it got a little bit crazy, and we're in England, and they brought this manager on, and then he was just a little bit too much for me, and so I said, well, you know, he says, you know, he says, you know, there are 200,000 Americans that would love this job. I said, fine. I said, when we get back to the United States, grab one. I'm finished. He says, you won't. I said, oh yeah. I said, one thing I don't do, I don't say one thing and do another. I'm telling you this, it's going to happen. And I walked away. I left it. I had a university education. Okay. I knew that it wasn't the only thing. And I always knew that I could sing. I knew that I could get a job. I knew I could do that. So I was confident in myself in a way, realistically, because I didn't want the bright lights, man. Because the first time they offered to me, I turned it down. I came back to Canada. He says, would you like to join this group, the super group we're putting together? I said, no, thank you. I come home. And then in the summertime, I had no money because I was going to Brock University, and I had no money. I didn't have enough money for books because I didn't have any help to do anything, you know. So Eddie Holland called me, says, Harrison, you know, why don't you come down? We got this group, we got this great tune, it would be good. And I said, well, I don't. He says, look, just try it for the summer. Try it for the summer, see what happens. We'll give you a certain amount of money, we'll put you up in a place, tell me what you think. And I said, okay. The next thing I know, this limousine pulls up in front of my house, and they take me out of Toronto, and there's this Lear jet waiting for me. And I thought, oh my God, what's going on? And I got down, and there's another limousine waiting for me in the tarmac and drives me to this place where, like, well, this house, man, they can play football in it. And we get there, and I met General and Danny and Eddie, and they said, we're going to do this one tune, and they did this tune. And I'm coming home, and I had a Nash. I bought a Nash. Nashes were like tanks, eh? And with a lot of snow on the ground. And I got to London. I turned on the radio, and I heard, "Give me the storm." I go, what? I pulled over the side of the road. It was on the radio. I got home. My mother, my brothers, my aunts, hey, you got to go back. You got to go back. Your album sold 200,000 copies on the weekend. Oh, I went right on back, bro. And but I was like stunned. I had no idea what this business was like. Could it be like that? You know what I mean? Because I was working bars and, you know, getting my $50 for 7 sets, all that kind of stuff. And digging
$dollars for sets. When just kidding.
Yeah, man. That's the kind of money we're making. And you want to know something? I was helping the guys carry. One time we had a keyboard player. He played Hammond organ, but we didn't have anything to do it. So my guitar player went out and bought some roller skates and some boards, and he tacked the roller skates to it, and we pushed it from one end of the mountain to the other end to the gate. Played all night long. I sang, carried, and we helped push it back that night. That's what we did. I was young, you know, and we did that. It was for fun and for the girls. And we were sure as hell weren't getting paid. So you gotta get something.
I know the story. I know the story, brother.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard, I don't know if this is completely true, so I'm going to ask you, what's going on by Marvin Gaye? What's the story with that? Did you play?
That when Marvin, the thing with Marvin, I was always, because I played harp, right? So everybody wanted some harmonica on their tunes. Now, I don't know how many people used it, but every one of them used my harmonica. Everybody.
Like, I mean,
The four tops, Supremes, Marvin Gaye. As a matter of fact, when I was playing harp one night, I see these two people walking towards the stage, and I'm saying, what's going on? And the next thing I know, I see this guy gets taller and taller, and he starts talking to me. And finally, I realized it was Stevie Wonder. And I said, man, you know this tune? And he said, yeah, I know this tune. I said, well, you sing the next line. I was singing in G.
Yeah.
He took the next line, the octave above it, brother. Man, I thought, oh God, I just love this man. He octave above it, you know. Feeling all right. That's what I was singing, right? I played the harp. And he was inviting me while we were talking. He said, man, you got to come to my house, man. You and I get together, blah, 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 and that kind of thing. So, but with Marvin's thing, it was like a spiritual thing, man. That thing went on all day. And they asked me to bring my harp. I brought my harp. And they said, Harrison, play something on this, man. So I started to play it. And on the album, there's a harp part in there. And that's me. I never got any credit for it. But I put a harp thing on. But he was a drummer.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell of a drummer. And the reason why he started singing, because the vocalist, I can't remember, didn't turn up or something. So he started to sing. And when they heard him sing, that was girl.
Well, he's still got a really gravelly voice. I've heard some of the isolated tracks of him singing those early songs.
Yes.
He's singing out hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And he could maintain it.
He can maintain it. He's not like, he doesn't feel like a crooner, you know what I mean?
No. That's why he fit into those tunes. That's why Eddie and them picked those tunes for him, because that's where his strength was. And that's the other things about the singers, you know, they always sang to their strengths, whatever the strengths were.
So you mean they sang to the song?
Yeah.
That's
they went like that, like, you know, some of the singers got 2 or 3 different tones they could use, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on the arrangement, and, you know, there's so much involved in it, you know. As a vocalist, I can always tell if a person shouldn't be singing what they're singing, because a lot of times they're thinking about being someone else rather than just, you know, I think the hardest thing, you know what the hardest thing is, man? To be yourself.
That's the hardest thing.
Still working on that, though.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is
the noblest thing to do, quite frankly.
Yeah, but that's why it's so hard.
Right. It is hard.
You know?
Once you realize that you're not as hard on yourself, but you recognize this is gonna be tough, you know. But I'm gonna keep doing this until I find out where I need to be with this one group, and not be afraid to go somewhere where you didn't think that you would.
But
you know,
that ebb and flow changes all the time, and personally, I don't know how you feel. I want to ask you that, is that within that ebb and flow,
right?
As an artist myself, being
right.
mixed Black Indian, and growing up in a very white world, I've had confusion about the whole thing. I mean, as a teenager, you know, you just do what what you think you should do, and you never really are following yourself until you find this point in the growth of your own space that allows you to go back in time and pull yourself out of it.
Yes. See, I grew up. I had my best friends most of the people that I grew up with were Black and Native. And I spent a lot of time up the Six Nations reservation. I had friends in Reuben off of Money whose dad lived in a shack in the woods and between the third and the fourth line. And the very first time I ever had scone and potatoes and corn soup was there. And I learned things like Seguli's gonna go, and other words, but I'm not going to repeat it right now. But the Howard Laughliner, Mike, Gordon Thompson, his father Mohawk and he was Black. The man that taught me how to ice skate was Mohawk, and worked in the dump. Worked in Hamilton because the only jobs you can get, men of color and First Nations people, you can get a job on dump trucks and stuff like that, working for the city. And so I spent a lot of time. That's why it was a thrill for me to do my album up at Jacasa on the third line. And yeah, I have a feeling to see. But the thing is this, and also I work with First Nations people all across Canada, like Murray Porter and his wife are very good friends of mine. And we talked about, I told him a story. I said, Edward Holland came in and he went, Harris, you know that tune, dun, 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 dun. I said, yeah. I said, that's a strong groove. He says, you know where I got that groove? I said, no. He said, First Nations people. That's their groove.
No,
he told me, God is my witness. That's what he told me. And between you and me and the gatepost, I don't think the world knows that, but they know that groove. But that groove, he told me, comes from First Nations people.
I hear it now.
Boom, 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 I mean, that's soulful, man. Whoa. I mean, I just love that stuff.
Absolutely right. I have never heard anybody say that before.
Yes.
And I can hear it with my soul.
Edward Holland made $1 billion off that thing, man. That groove. But you know why? I'll tell you just because he could listen. He used to invite his sisters and the girlfriends out for drinks. And he'd be sitting there. And the ladies would have a few drinks. And somebody would say, yeah, I know he did that. I wonder where I said, baby, where did our love go? You just keep me hanging on. And he'd be writing it down. Where did my love go? Just keep, he got those lines from women because women express themselves emotionally where men don't.
They express themselves emotionally within conversation.
Exactly. And you're like you alluded to earlier, that the music is about a conversation.
Yeah.
You tunes to that, some grooves to that, and you got $1 million selling. They did it. All of it. Baby, baby.
Where did I go?
Come on. I mean, like, you just keep me hanging on. All that kind of stuff. Like, ain't no guy said that. That was said by a woman, and he went in and wrote $1 million seller off of it because he's brilliant. So if you listen, if you're out on the street, you listen to people. General Johnson, who passed away, I'm the last chairman alive. But General Johnson, he made a very nice criticism of me one day. And he said, Harris, because I was majoring in English, right? And my language was precise and all that stuff. He says, you've got to speak to the masses, man. He says, and by the way, he says, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. He said, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about whether somebody else has said that line or that groove.
Why is that? Just
when you take it in, because when you take it in, it becomes yours and put it back out again. It's never going to be exactly the same, even if it's the same key. It's now yours, and you will change it. Like I've heard, like for instance, I wrote a tune called "Well, I just don't know where my milk cow's been. She's been gone so long, I got a worried feeling." Then I found out later that there was a blues tune called Milk Cow Blues. Now, I wrote one called Milk Cow Blues, but I had never heard of anybody else doing Milk Cow Blues. It's not the same lines, but The title was the same, but still.
I've been reading this book called "It Doesn't Start with You" or "Didn't Start with You," and what the
Right.
entire concept of the book is that, and it's scientific too. So uh, every one of us has this past trauma that goes back to our ancestors, which even
Yeah.
is like even the embryo of a woman or the sperm of a man is carried the genetics of
It's in
whatever
the blood, in the bones. It's in
in the,
there.
in the
Comes
blood,
with you.
always with you. And
Yes.
for people like us, I find that the blues and jazz and soul, even country music, to be
Of
honest with
course.
you, and
Of course.
to be really in my bones.
Yes.
It's through you. I mean, you've been
Yeah.
doing this for such a long time,
Oh yeah.
and such an inspiration to me and so many other people. It's
Yeah.
these stories that you're talking about. It's all there. It's all part of your
Yeah.
DNA.
That's why I give credit to somebody, you know. I mean, I give credit to musicians, man. I give the guys out there trying to make a living, and they're trying their best. You know, even if it's, whatever they want to say negative about it. I know what it's like to go out there and work as a musician and try to make a living. Right now, it's very difficult for us to make a living, but I give it credit to say, man, whatever happens, happens. If they're doing wrong, it's going to come back at them. So I'm not passing judgment. They're passing the judgment on themselves. They ain't going to get an argument from me. If they're doing wrong, it come back to you. Man, that just happens. That's the truth, and that undisputable truth. And at the same time, I won't kick them when they're down. I won't do that because there's nothing in that for me. You know,
Right.
nothing in that.
I believe. Funny what a record player can do for the lives of people.
Yes, sir. Music is wonderful.
I used to drive in my grandfather's big old Buick,
Yeah.
and he had all these 8-tracks in the car, and the one 8-track and it's still to me the greatest sounding record that I've ever heard was the Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, self-titled record. I know that that it had Big Wind, it had coming on home to me, it had People Get Ready, it had White Boy Lost in the Blues, the Battle. That is still to this day my absolute favorite record that was ever created, and it just made I can see everything I did with my grandfather on those days when I listened to that record. That's what a record player does to you.
Yeah, it does, man. Well, he used to play in Hamilton, Sonny Terry, Brown McGee.
Yeah.
I went up to him one day and I said, I'd like to take some harmonica lessons. I was 16. And he said, they were staying at Bud Fisher's Hotel here in Hamilton. He said, show up at 1 o'clock. Bring a bottle of wine. So I said, all right. So I went down to the wine liquor store and I saw this one cat out there looked like he was suffering with DTs. And I said, I'll buy you a bottle of wine if you buy me one. And he said, how old are you, son? I said, I'm 16. He said, I can't go in there. I said, but I need to get a bottle of wine. He said, boy, I feel so bad right now, I wouldn't do it. He said, but I'll do it. He said, you be careful now. It's not a good rule. So he bought me the bottle and I went back, knocked on the door. And the son was there right there. He called me in and he said, did you get the wine? I said, yeah, I did. He said, put it over there on the table. I put it on the table. He said, you got a harp? I said, yeah. He just reached in his pocket, played something, put it back. He said, learn that. He said, come back next week. Well, that line that he played, you could have taken a hot poker and ripped it across my head. I remembered every note he played. I went home and I learned it. And I got another bottle of wine. And I went back the next day and I walked in. He said, Mean and Ryan? He's a mean motherfucker. I said, yeah, I got wine. He said, did you learn it? And I played it. He went, boy? He said, where you from? And I said, well, My uncle, who calls himself a jazzman, is from Florida. He was one of the kids they put on the train when the white people down there killed everybody down there, and he escaped. I said, my cousins are in Detroit. They all play harmonica. I said, I've been playing since I was little. And he said, man, reach up there. So I reached up there, and up there he had this kind of like door, and inside there were like bottles of wine. He said, put that one up and bring this one down. I did. So him and I sat there, and at 16, I got totally drunk. Sonny walked in and caught us.
Sonny Terry.
Sonny. They had a gig that night, right? And there I am, drunk. And I get the names mixed up. Brownie. Sonny was a guitar player, right?
No, Sonny's the harp.
Sonny, yeah, Brownie.
Sonny walked in.
Walks in and sees him and said, get your ass out of here. Got into a big argument. But they were fighting all the time, them two.
They didn't get along, did they?
Oh, man, they were fighting all the time. Even my Uncle Jack told me about it. But that was my harmonica lesson. Yeah, wow. One time.
What a great mentor he was.
But the thing with him, what I learned from him and what I learned with people who are serious, if you're serious,
yeah,
and you got some, I don't know, if you're serious and you got a little bit of talent to do it, all that hard stuff doesn't bother you.
Not at all.
You've already made up your mind that you're going to learn this. You know,
you're not going to fail if it's in your heart.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to stop you, man.
Nothing going to stop you.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, question for you. We're getting down to the 50 mark, but I want to.
I'm telling you, man, I love this talking to you, man. I'm appreciative, so respectful of the fact that you decided to do this with me. Honestly.
You too. Absolutely, yeah. I love you. The blues.
Yeah.
Music of I'm going to call it. Everybody wants to call it black music because that people are scared. They think that it's not black music to me. It's American. It's the music from here. And black people are not the only people that came to North America. North America was inhabited by indigenous people. Black people were forced to.
They murdered them. But anyway, we won't get into that.
There's a lot there. What I'm trying to make, Harrison, is that now that we've got this place called North America, blacks brought over from the other side of the world, forced over, and the people here on the continent forced out, and the people have now all mixed. What is the future of this particular art form? Where is the blues? What do you feel, and what is your hope for the future of blues music, knowing that so many people have adopted this as something that resonates with them? How do we move forward? How do we make sure that the lineage and the legacy is respected without reprimanding people for their love of it? But knowing very well that, I don't want it to be like Cooperstown and then there's, Duke Ellington's photo and, Eddie Cleanhead Vincent's photo. I don't want that. What I want it to
I don't want to see a black person's photograph on a white person's album cover.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see
that shit. But the thing is this, man, as far as anybody loving the blues, I respect that. I don't care. Black, white, yellow, green. I really don't care. I know that the blues that I do comes from a set of people who basically brought it from field haulers that were suffering. I saw it, I felt it, I know it comes from them. Other people may have heard that suffering and heard that wail because they were suffering too. And so it struck them. So they added their thing to it. And then somebody else came from somewhere else and they felt that suffering. So they added their thing to the Irish. And all of that kind of stuff got added to it. But the root of it is black.
Mhm.
It ain't nothing else but. It's black. It's black folks' music. They're the ones that cannot remember where their ancestors came from unless they go get a DNA test. But they don't know who their great grandpa. I know who my great great grandpa was, but that's only by luck. But other than that, I have no idea how they got here, where they came from. Most people that you and I know can tell you that, who their grandfathers were, where their grandmothers came from, and how they went through and what they went through. And times probably were very tough for them because, you know, I'm married to a Scot, and they went through hell as well. But I asked her about her relatives. She knows who they are. I don't.
I don't either.
I'm by myself. And most black men that I knew traced their lineage through their mothers because the men couldn't get jobs, couldn't hang around, or they just died or they got shot. So the women had to find a way to bring us up. And I'm sure that most black men hear me and understand what I'm saying. It's not that other people didn't go through this very same thing, but they didn't go through it like we did. Okay? That is not an argument. That's the truth. And however, I'm not saying that to put anybody down. Hey, if you're a white cat and you're 9 years old and you play the blues and all of a sudden you're getting the gigs and I walk in and I don't get the job, that's not that 9-year-old kid's fault. That's more something that's happening with this whole society.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Who gets asked to do these things? You know, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. So it's almost as if, and then especially when you see, well, they take a stereotype of what they think we look like and dress up like that. I said, you know, man, how come your jeans are ripped and shit? And none of the black cats that I know that would play the blues do that to the jeans. You know, they don't do that shit, man. You know, so like, I understand you like the harp. Good for you. I'm glad you like the harp. Make some money off it. God bless you. That's great. You know,
Yeah.
but where's it going?
Where's it
It's
going?
kind of like this, man. I was in a restaurant one time, and I love mashed potatoes, butter. One time, mashed potatoes came to me, man, and I dug into them, and I said, wait a minute. Excuse me for a minute. Yeah. What's with these mashed potatoes? What do you mean, sir? And she getting all nervous and shit because I might have had a skull on my face. I said, well, it doesn't taste like a potato. She says, oh, it's, and she brought it, it's from this box. I said, you mean to tell me that this potatoes come out of that box? Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. When I hear the blues, I know that it came out of a box. It ain't the real potato. It's like when I was in France, somebody asked me this question, a leading question. She says, well, Harrison, what do you think about the white people doing the blues? I'm sure that you've been asked this question many times by white people. And I said, well, you know, in Ontario, where I come from, we have a big wine industry. We have Pinot Noir, Pinot Chardonnay. We have Cabernet Sauvignon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said, you know, when I have the Cabernet Sauvignon from Ontario, yeah, I know it didn't come from France. God bless them that they're making a living, but it ain't the Cabernet Sauvignon that I get over. They use the French name, Cabernet Sauvignon, but they cut it short, Cab Sav. You want a Cab Sav? You know, maybe that's better than calling Cab Sav than Cabernet Sauvignon. You know, the best wines, for me, you cannot duplicate this. But if someone wants to buy the grape from you and the seeds and plant these vines and they've been in the field for 10 years, when yours have been in for like 700 years, to be able to have the distinction, the taste. The blues is a taste. When you've got the taste of the real thing, ain't nobody can change your mind when you hear it ain't there.
Comes in a box.
Yeah, you could tell it comes in a box.
You're right.
Cool, that's fine. Go ahead, knock yourself up. But if they ask me, I'll say, yeah, how'd you learn? Oh, I mean, I went on YouTube and I learned. I said, well, you got all the chords, man. Chords are rocking. Yeah. But you know what? You don't have what? You don't have addiction. You don't have the feel. But I don't say that, because the minute I say that, it's like, oh man, you can do that. I said, it's okay. It's okay for you to say what you want to say, but it's not okay for me to have an opinion. Now here's my opinion, and I'm going to tell you it, and you can like it or lump it, because I play all around the world just being myself. Ain't nobody else have to be me, and that's
nobody has the same story, and nobody has the same perspective, but nobody has the same way of telling that story through your perspective, which is an interesting thing. I was thinking about songwriting today, and thinking about the simple things to talk about within my songwriting is communication and story. You're an extremely great storyteller, but it's not like, you just said it to me, it's not like your partner's Scottish. It's not like she didn't go through hard times, or her family didn't go through hard times. It's the same, but it's just different. That's
all. Vive la France, vive la différence. Thank God for difference, because if there was no difference, like this pandemic is showing something. I was talking to my neighbor, and she said, Harrison, it's tough. And I said, our species, Homo sapiens, survived because we talked to one another, because we shared ideas. We do better with two people than just alone. Yes, we need to talk. We need to share. We need to have differences of opinion. We need to amalgamate. And that's what music, everything's like that. I mean, if you bring a tree from Afghanistan and plant it up north, in 10 years, it's not going to look the same, because the ground's different. The weather's different. The different bugs that they're eating. So that's the planet. Mother Earth is the boss. I'll tell you who are smart. First Nations people. It's Mother Earth. She's the boss, man.
Yeah, she's the boss.
Everybody else is just totally chill out.
I'd rather her be the boss than anybody else, man. I tell you that. Yep. She is a wonder.
Yeah.
I love her, but she's a wonder.
Yeah.
This is my heart to be able to talk to you like this, man. I want to get together with you and just do our thing.
God willing, man, we'll do it. We have to wait and see what our mother says. Many years ago, there was a First Nations person named Dan George.
I know Dan George. I got to see him speak.
You know what he said back in 1970? He said, Mother Earth is angry. That was long before the pandemic, long before SARS, long before everything. He says, Mother Earth is angry. I said, really? He said, yeah, Mother Earth is angry. There's going to be some suffering coming down here. It's going to be within about 10 years. He said that. He said that. I heard that. I remember him saying it. So people have wisdom, man. But if you tell somebody that, like, I couldn't believe as a kid that you'd be actually paying to buy water.
Yeah.
I mean, that blows my mind. That you got to buy water now. You know what I mean? I mean, but if you had said that 20 years ago, so you need to stop doing this, or you're gonna give me a point, we're gonna actually be paying for this water. They would have slammed the door in your face, called you all kinds of names, said stupid, get out of my, just shut you right out, stop talking to you. It's that kind of silence you get from people when they don't want to hear no more.
When I was 4 years old, I got to see him speak at the Mission Powwow. My grandfather took me out there. Still remember that day.
Wow. He was quite a man.
I still remember that day.
Wow. Now we need about 5 or 6 days to talk. But I'm grateful for this. And, so the Toronto Blues Society, Derek Anders and I are buddies for years, and I love this man. And, he's the guy, he's always been kind of like a mentor for me. Got me on stage opening up for a lot of good groups, and the reason why Andrew was out there at the very same time. But and I remember we go back to, he was telling me, I remember him saying to me that he wanted to start the Blues Society, and
Oh,
that
no.
he thought it was tough. So we go back that far. But Derek's cool, and Alma and all the people that are allowing you and I to get together to talk. I mean, these are the things that, and they're giving credit to the First Nations people, the land they live on. So all of these things are, it's a conversation that needs to happen, and I'm so glad that it.
Say that it's an ongoing conversation. It's evolving as we are.
Yeah, yeah,
We're the ones helping it move along. So beautiful.
yeah. What a pleasure.
What a pleasure to talk with you as well.
Yeah. So people are supposed to ask us questions now, or what's the deal?
I'm not sure. Uma?
I mean, we probably gone too long.
I will bring myself back on screen. We didn't really have had a lot of questions, so that's why I kind of messaged secretly Julian too. So you just free to continue and freestyle. But
Oh, good.
There we go. I see that.
thank you so much. It was really an honor and pleasure to have both of you on this same screen.
That's so cool. This is amazing.
Yeah. It is the best that we can have right now, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rest is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
I just I guess I should say a couple of
Derek,
for the
remember opening up for yeah, the brothers from New Orleans. Derek was doing the booking down at the waterfront in Toronto, and I was on the stage, and I had all of their. I'm trying to think what the fellow's name is. The high voice and oh God,
Aaron. Is it Aaron?
No, they were out of. He had a real high voice. They were out of New Orleans, and anyway, they were all crowded around. Their whole family was all crowded around, and they asked my girlfriend who was there, "Who is he?" She says, "Oh, that's Harrison Kennedy." So, where's he from? He says, "Oh, he's from Hamilton," and he says, "Is that an island?"
No, it's a play.
Yeah, man.
Your production.
Yeah, brother.
I think it was Aaron Neville, by the way. If this is
Aaron Neville, the Nevilles. Yes, there was the Neville brothers. I couldn't believe it. And it was his drummer that asked me to join the group. He wanted me to come down there and sign up to their tour regularly. But right after that, they had that big hurricane.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay.
It was Derek that got me on the stage with him. I opened up for him. He also was he was responsible for getting me to be the first black artist to play in Toronto. Where they have the every year they have the Blues Awards. But what's the name of that place? Big place in Toronto.
Turner Hall.
Turner
Hall. He was responsible for me being the first blues artist ever to play there.
Really?
So, oh yeah, man. So I mean, it's about love and it's about respect and all of those things. So I mean, shit. I'm not gonna things that black and white. All the shades.
Harrison, was that opening for Keb Mo at Turner Hall?
Yes, it was. It kept come running down the hall. Come running at me. Harrison. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you know him before that night?
No, but he knew me. He said that I was one of his favorite artists, and him and Taj Mahal were talking about me. I said, "Well, you're gonna have to talk to Derek. I don't know what to say." No, I didn't say that. But yeah, he says, "Oh man," and he started singing. He wanted to do a tune that I did with the. If you dance to the music, don't you know you got to pay to the piper? Ask your mama. He said he wanted to record that one. I said, "Well, let's get together and do it." Yeah, man.
Cool, baby. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
cool, man. Met him in Nashville. Played with him in Nashville.
yeah.
Very cool guy.
Mm.
Taller than I ever thought he would be.
Mm. He had this bus, man. This bus. When I looked at that bus, he brought this bus that was where he kind of like lived in it. It was amazing. And I thought, damn.
Come on. One day, brother, one day.
Nah, too much. I'd have to hire a driver and all that other shit.
No, you can drive the bus. What are you talking about?
No, I ain't driving no bus, man. Someone's going to have to drive me. I got my own. Give me a Cadillac. Yeah. Okay. So I guess.
Before we go, maybe I should ask you too, like if our followers or anybody who's watching this would like to follow you in future, what you're doing, the upcoming gigs, hopefully online and live in near future. Maybe if you would like to mention your website, social media.
Me, I'm booked in Paris again in August, and back in France in October, November, and next January and March. And I'm also talking with a good friend of mine here in Hamilton, Reg Titian, who wants me to be in this horn group, and he's approaching a group in Toronto that evidently does Tower Power, and he's asking them to back me. And so, because I told him I want to start traveling across Canada and the United States, and I haven't had a horn group in a long time. And when I was in Toronto, I had a group called the Stone Soul Children. Man, what a band! And there were four or five horns in that band. So I love a horn band, but they're the first to lose their job because it's too much, become expensive. So God willing, if Reg puts this together right now, he's making. Last I talked to him a couple of days ago, he's putting a website together, and we're going to get together and do that. So I'll be doing some R&B.
Right.
Yeah, bunk. Who knows? And I'll only be 80. What the piss? Who cares? Yeah.
Great. And for you, Julian?
JulianTaylorMusic.ca. That's where you can find me when I'm up.
Yeah.
I guess we should say congrats to you for your nomination to recent Juno.
Yeah, brother.
Well, thanks. My first in 20 years.
Yeah.
Hope I'll get maybe another one in 20 more years.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm nominated down in the United States again for acoustic album of the year.
Excellent. Congratulations.
This is my third nomination down there, and but I'm going up against there's only other four. There's always 4 or 5 people like Taj Mahal and Whitney Foster, people like that. But they're good friends of mine, and it's so cool to be nominated. And I'm also nominated here for the Blues Awards again, but I've been nominated over 30 times. I've never won. I have won Writer of the Year, but that wasn't by votes. It was SOCAN came through the award system and gave it to me, and that was so cool.
That's
to,
very.
I said as a writer, but all the other times. But the nice thing about it though, man, when you get the nomination, those nominations coming from the movers and shakers of the business. The people that listen to the music, they're the ones that nominate you. I can understand me not winning because I don't get asked to play much here in Canada. I'm usually over in Europe making all kinds of money. No, but I'm over there, And the thing over here, I have used the guys that I won the Juno with. I took them we played in Ottawa, and phenomenal players. I'm going to be in the studio again with those guys, Jesse O'Brien and the same guys that I did the album with at Chicasa. I've already written the tunes, and they're kickers. So we'll see what happens, man. Just keep on keeping on.
There you go, babe. Keep on keeping.
Well, thank you so much again for both of you for joining the TBS conversation tonight. And I just want to end this by saying that we're going to be back actually right this Sunday at 2 p.m. With a free workshop series for musicians directed by Rudy Kwame Williams. So please make sure to check our website, social media, if you would like to join, or if you know someone who would like to join and participate.
Yeah. So will you put that? Will I be able to get access to that information so I can put it out there?
Of course, I'll send you personally.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm in support. I support Toronto Blue Society. I definitely support it.
Exactly. So it's gonna be the first workshop. It's gonna kick off this Sunday, and it's gonna continue throughout April. It's gonna be on Sundays
Yeah.
in April. So
It's great.
I guess that's all, and we hope we wish you all a happy long weekend. Enjoy
Namaste.
your weekends.
But
Adelante.
opportunity, Harrison, it's an honor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good night.
Like,
Good night.